What's going on today, guys? It's December now. It's chilly and windy, so you might have some wind noise, but back in October we went to the GIE and saw a lot of things, but the most exciting new thing that I think is really going to make a difference in the turf industry is right here, and we're going to talk about it now. Stay tuned. Right there, Carbonate Sprue. But it's come a long way in just 1 year. Matter of fact, let's look at 1 year ago's product right next to what you're going to be getting today. To really put this thing in perspective, if you ordered from Carbon Earth Company last year, this is what came out in about January of last year. This is very wet and that's just junk, unfortunately. It's a big learning curve in this stuff, and I'm pretty sure these guys made good on a lot of it, or all that they could, but they've been redeemed. Less than 1 year later, that's what you got right there. This is the latest version of the flagship product, the 2404, and it is packed with features. Let's talk about this stuff. All right, Carbonate Sprue is still a 2404. We're gonna have 17% urea, 6% ammoniacal nitrogen, 4% sulfate of potash, 14% sulfur, 2% iron. This is what's new. You're going to have a urease inhibited urea in it. The first version had the Yaravera, which there was nothing wrong with the performance in the turf on that, but just the performance in the actual fertilizer, what it did to the fertilizer as far as the Yaravera product. It was inconsistent in the size, in my opinion, and it also attracted moisture really bad. But now that's gone, and you're going to have a urease inhibited urea, and we'll take a look at one of those in a second. It's blue color, looks pretty neat. This is exciting too. Peptides from enzymatic hydrolysis extraction. And what the peptides, this particular extraction method and the peptides, you're going to be seeing a lot of this coming up. The company that produces this particular peptide product has been in Spain, and they've opened up a new manufacturing facility in the US, which is top notch from my understanding. And so you're going to be seeing more and more products using that. With the results people are getting from this, they just can't stay away from it. You're going to see it in all kinds of products. What they're calling this at Carbon Earth is CRRP technology. I call it crap technology. Not crap because it's bad, it's good crap. And what CRRP stands for is carbon release root promoting. Carbon release root promoting. The studies they've been doing, they've been seeing 139% plus gain in plant mass. And that ain't Massachusetts, people. Let's roll over these things again. 139% plus gain in plant mass from the CRRP technology. What's the CRRP technology, Paul? Well, it's just another way. It's what Carbon Earth is calling it. But what it is that the combination of the co-composted chicken manure, the biochar, the ammonium sulfate, the sulfate of potash, the iron, and the peptides going into that one product and putting it out on the soil, they're seeing 139% plus gains in plant mass. The peptides are going to be huge, people, I'm telling you. And I'm also really excited about that new urea, the urease inhibited coated urea. is a much more uniform size, and it's going to behave much better in the actual fertilizer bag. And plus you're going to have that controlled release, that real predictable controlled release of the urease inhibited urea. And what a urease inhibitor is urea, when it goes in the soil, it turns into a gas, and to turn into that gas and become plant available, it has to react with urease. And what the urease inhibitor will do is slow that process down and keep your urea from gassing off and going off into the environment before it's plant available. Because that urea is super inefficient, you lose a lot of it through that process. But with that urease inhibitor, you have made it a slower release and a more predictable release. There's lots of different ways to control the release on urea. You'll see things like a XCU, which is a sulfur-coated polywrap urea. There's formaldehyde ureas, all different kinds of things. But this is probably going to be the best thing that's going to fit into this product and keep the price range in the right ballpark. I think I'm going to like the inhibited urea better than an XCU, because it is even more predictable in its release than XCU. Something could happen to that coating on a XCU and mess up your release timing on it. And we've got the biochar in there. You know, we've been talking about the biochar, and I've done different videos on the process and all, but the process really hasn't changed much. They've just added some, you know, these different products in it. But the process basically is they'll take the biochar, line these poultry houses with it, and use it for bedding for the chickens, and it collects all that great, you know, chicken waste, which is just a fantastic fertilizer. And then it's composted, finished off, and blended up into a dust, which is then that dust is blended with a ammonium sulfate, which is blended down in the dust, and then a iron and a sulfate of potash, and all that is ground up into one powder and made into a liquid, which is then turned into a fertilizer prill. So it's very altogether homogeneous, I guess is what you call that. And even the Carbonate Sprue product is only two. You're only getting your stuff delivered in two different prills. That biochar prill that they're making there at Carbon Earth has got, you know, the ammonium sulfate, sulfate of potash, and iron, biochar, chicken litter, all in one prill. And then they add in that urease inhibited nitrogen, the urea. Pretty awesome product. Oh, the peptides. Let's talk about peptides. The peptides are just kind of catching on here, and they're gonna, I feel like they're gonna get a lot of traction here coming up in the United States, because there hasn't been a facility here that manufactured them in the specific way that these are extracted. These are this peptide it's an amino acid, is a peptide, and there are different chains and forms of amino acids in pretty much everything there is. And to get them out, they use a specific enzyme that will target the specific chains of peptides that they want to get out. So the enzymes go in and eat everything out and leave the skeleton of these chains of proteins, amino acids that they want, and that's how it's made. But apparently there's a new manufacturing facility in the US, which is a top-notch place. I'm told everybody who's seen it just raves about how just crazy nice it is. But this stuff is going to show up in a lot of products, because it gets results. There's a bunch of Japanese research on it, and they call these peptides root hair promoting peptides. So if that tells you anything, they promote root hairs. And why that's important is your plants really obviously start at the roots, but everything absorbed in the soil is going to come through those roots. The more roots you got, the more opportunities you got to feed your plants. You blow them up that way, get that big plant mass, and they're seeing 139% plus increase in plant mass, which is impressive. Results like that you cannot ignore. So companies are going to be adding this to their product. But Carbon Earth, first one to get it in a granular fertilizer. So you can be the first kid on the block to have the new thing. Anyway, but so we got the peptides, that's new, and the urease inhibited urea, and then you've still got the good biochar, the sulfate of potash for your potassium source in it. So, and the sulfate of potash is the cleanest potassium source there is in that I have used anyway. But it's less salt than other versions, murate and potassium hydroxide, all that kind of stuff. So that less salt is good in your soil. Salt is good on French fries, not on grass. The Carbonate Sprue has 7% soil organic carbon. Carbon is always, you know, that's your soil builder, your building blocks for everything in the soil. So organic carbon, good. It's a good chance we're talking about the 7% soil organic carbon to talk about blending fertilizers and how the stuff fits in the bag. Like, for example, you can't make a fertilizer. Your fertilizer has to be able to fit into the bag. So these analyses, like the Carbonex with the 2404, you say if you like ammonium sulfate so much, for example, why don't you just make it all ammonium sulfate for the nitrogen? Well, ammonium sulfate is only 21% nitrogen. So an entire bag, a 50-pound bag of ammonium sulfate, will only have 21% nitrogen. So if you wanted to make a 2404 with ammonium sulfate, it can't be done with only ammonium sulfate. Urea is a 46% nitrogen. So a whole entire bag of urea is 46%. Like murate of sulfate of potash, 50% potassium. Murate of potash, 60% potassium. Things like, for example, peat moss, 60% carbon. Biochar, 70% carbon. So if you wanted to make a bag with a high, you know, if you want to get that 24 in that Carbonate Sprue, you're gonna have to combine some urea and some ammonium sulfate if you want ammonium sulfate in it to get to that 24 number and still have it fit in the bag. So all these, you know, if you wanted a 4660, for example, you couldn't make it. You'd have to split it. You could make, for example, a 2625, and what that would be is a 2325, and what that would be a half a bag of urea and a half a bag of SOP. That's how that works, kind of. So you know, you got to have room for the product in the bag to make it work. Again, there's your new Carbonate Sprue. Real uniform, dry, completely separate, high crush strength, really nice product. You see those blue colored balls in there, that's your urease coated, urease inhibited urea. Really nice. And then, like I said, the iron, the sulfate of potash, the ammonium sulfate, everything else is right there. The chicken litter. And I just can't even talk about how good chicken litter is for your soil. And the biochar with that hold and release capability it has. I think you're looking at the best fertilizer on the market for your turf right there. I come up here in my office to get out of that wind. Good Lord. I'm really excited about this product. I'm really excited about Carbon Earth going forward. I mean, in full disclosure, Matt and John Borden, I consider good friends of mine, and I really want to see them succeed. But I think they really have the pieces in place now that this thing it's on another level now. So I'm super excited about that, and I just can't wait to see what this year is going to hold for those guys in that company, and to get a hold of the products and use them, because I like my grass nice, people. There's going to be some other new products too. I don't have I haven't used any of them yet, but I will try them out. The X Soil, which is going to be it's just the the chicken litter and biochar without the iron and ammonium sulfate and ammonium sulfate and ammonium sulfate, the iron and the SOP and all that stuff. It's just chicken litter and biochar. It's going to be like a top dress and a soil amendment. So you would put that out at really heavy rates to improve your soil, and I'm certain that's going to be a great product for them. And then a Stress X, which is a just pretty much like the 818 product, but with more sulfate of potash, less nitrogen, and the peptides. The peptides, I believe, are going to run across the whole product line, which that's exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing the results we're going to get out of that. All right, enough sidewalk chalk talk. Let's get out there and put some out. Stuff looks just gorgeous in the hopper. Super dry, super separated. Very visible coming out with the blue prill. You know, again, to summarize, it's got everything we're going to need in it. It's got the ammonium sulfate, which is super soil stable. The urease inhibited urea, which is going to give you that nice, even, predictable release. The sulfate of potash, the chicken litter. The chicken litter's got micros, everything in it. Chicken litter is the bomb. And then the new amino acid, the peptides that you're going to be seeing everywhere that just have undeniable results. I can't wait to see the root production and how this is going to help me get through the summer on these fescue yards. If you haven't gone to the Carbon Earth website lately, go check that out. They got some great information on there and all the products. So again, thanks for watching. Use some of this stuff. I'm gonna have plenty of it. I love it. Thanks, guys.